You said you didn't remember what you said during that viral moment after you fouled out against the Indiana Fever. A lot of people believe what you said was effing white girl or effing white girls. Is it possible that's what you said?
No, would never say that. Like, there's no place for that in our league. Wouldn't say that.
So even though you can't remember, you know that was not what you said.
I know it wasn't that because I wouldn't use that type of...
This type of rhetoric is so harmful to the WNBA and to the league and to Caitlin Clark and to every single person that these allegations against Caitlin Clark come up with. Brittney Griner did not make a racist or offensive comment towards Caitlin Clark.
Imagine showing up to play basketball and somehow ending up in the middle of a story involving a governor, a league investigation, furious fans, and enough internet detectives to solve 3 crime shows before halftime. That is exactly where this WNBA controversy landed. What started as post-game drama quickly snowballed into a major debate about fairness, accountability, and whether everyone is truly playing by the same rulebook. By the time this story unfolded, you might wonder how basketball became the least controversial part of it.
Oh, gotta see this. So Brittney Griner has just been banned from the WNBA after this situation with Caitlin Clark is going viral, where she made some extremely racist remarks from the bench after getting fouled out by Caitlin Clark. I mean, this is just insane. Just watch this video, bro.
For the ticky-tack fouls that we were talking about earlier today.
I don't know if you guys could read lips as good as I can, but we all know what she said right there. I mean, she's talking about her skin color. I mean, this is just insane. There's no place for this in sports, and now Brittney Griner is being banned from the WNBA for this.
Sometimes, the biggest controversy in sports is not what happens during the game, but what happens after the final buzzer, when everyone starts arguing about what they believe they saw. Basketball has always thrived on rivalries, passionate fan bases, and heated debates. Yet every so often, a single controversy grows large enough to attract people who normally have nothing to do with professional sports.
Has filed for divorce from her wife Sherelle of 8 years. Commentators have mixed emotions about Brittney being single again, making statements like it's about time I made it to a game.
Brittney Griner is a man. First wife, she left after having them twins, took her to court and said, "These ain't mine," and walked away. Now, she's leaving her second wife, the same wife that helped her get out of that Russian prison, working with Biden, to be able to come back to Arizona, and now she's like, "I'm done. I'm out. I want a divorce." Man behavior.
That is exactly what happened when a dispute involving the Indiana Fever, Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, and the WNBA expanded far beyond the basketball court and eventually reached the office of Indiana Governor Mike Braun.
What is your stance on men or athletes who test as biological male participating in women's sports? What's your personal stance?
Yeah, I mean, I don't know that I would say that I'm educated enough from a scientific standpoint. I don't ever believe that exclusion is an answer. I just don't. I do think, when we think about various levels of sport, various governing bodies of sport and things that go into that, like I said, I'm not educated enough at the different levels.
What began as a disagreement over accusations aimed at fans gradually evolved into a much broader conversation about fairness, consistency, and whether the league applies the same standards to everyone involved.
Well, Brittney Griner, there's an update right there. Brittney Griner says she can't remember what she said in a viral clip after falling out against the Fever. Of course she can't. See, African-American women, African-American dudes, white women that are on the liberal side can say anything they want. And no one's going to challenge them. You think CBS, NBC, ABC would be all over this? If somebody said the other way, I'm going to say it because, I'm on the wrong side of the media, and they will clip that and put it out at Dockage as racist.
The story unfolded during an already emotional stretch of the WNBA season, when nearly every Caitlin Clark appearance seemed to generate another major headline. Clark's arrival had transformed the league in ways that were difficult to ignore. Television ratings increased, arenas routinely sold out, merchandise disappeared from shelves, and road games suddenly became major attractions regardless of which teams were playing. Even longtime followers of women's basketball admitted that the attention surrounding the rookie had created a level of national interest the league had rarely experienced before. However, that success also came with a downside. Every hard foul, heated exchange, social media debate, and controversial officiating decision became national news within minutes. League officials, the Fever organization, and arena staff reviewed the available information in an effort to determine exactly what had happened. After completing that review, the league announced that it had not found evidence to substantiate the allegations. The conclusion immediately shifted the public conversation. Instead of asking whether misconduct had occurred in the stands, many fans began questioning whether the investigation itself had unfairly placed an entire fan base under suspicion before any evidence had been established.
Respectfully, Brittney Griner was in a Russian prison. You would think that somebody who is now free, back in America on home soil, would not have too much to complain about. Especially something like this.
That frustration resonated particularly strongly in Indiana, where Fever supporters had embraced Clark with remarkable enthusiasm. Home games had become major community events, attracting longtime basketball fans alongside newcomers who simply wanted to witness the phenomenon surrounding one of the sport's biggest young stars. Many residents felt that their loyalty had been questioned during the investigation. After the league announced that the allegations were unsubstantiated, some believe the organization should have done more to reassure fans whose reputations had been caught in the middle of the controversy. Speaking about the investigation, Governor Mike Braun argued that because the allegations had ultimately been found to be unsupported, those who had been unfairly implicated deserved acknowledgement. He said that Indiana's passionate basketball fans should not be broadly associated with behavior that investigators were unable to verify. Braun also expressed disappointment that, in his view, the people who had supported the Fever throughout the season had not received a stronger public response after the investigation concluded. His comments added another layer to an already heated debate about fairness, accountability, and whether professional sports organizations apply the same standards to everyone involved.
Well, Brittney Griner's at it again, huh? This is a woman who was given a second chance at life, should still be locked up in a Russian prison. She broke their laws. Biden made a swap for his political agenda. So she comes here. What does she say under her breath? Nothing. She made it clear as day. Under her breath, she said, "Effing white girl." If this was reversed, and Clark would have said this about her, this would be national news.
His comments quickly circulated across sports media and social platforms, giving the story an entirely new dimension. Braun's remarks were significant because they represented more than simple support for a professional sports franchise. Indiana has long considered basketball an important part of its cultural identity. From packed high school gyms and historic college programs to the NBA's Indiana Pacers, basketball has always held a special place in the state. The Fever's recent surge in popularity added another chapter to that tradition, while Caitlin Clark's arrival brought fresh energy to Indiana's basketball culture. As the controversy continued, online users began circulating video clips involving Brittney Griner. Some viewers interpreted portions of the footage as containing remarks directed toward Caitlin Clark. Others strongly disputed those interpretations, arguing that the clips lacked context and that different explanations better matched what occurred during the game. Because the recordings were widely debated rather than universally understood, the clips became another flashpoint in an already polarized environment. Instead of bringing clarity, the different interpretations fueled even more arguments across television, podcasts, and social media.
Tagging me in Riley Gaines' video like that's some sort of evidence and that I trust her opinion in any way, shape, or form. Because even if Brittney Griner said trashy white girl or called her garbage, which there's no evidence of, that is not a racial slur, that is not racist or offensive towards Caitlin Clark. Second of all, the clip that they're showing, she's arguing with the referee. She said nothing about Caitlin Clark. But people try to continuously make Caitlin Clark a victim of her own doing.
On one side was the league's responsibility to investigate serious allegations whenever they surfaced. Few reasonable observers argued that accusations involving discriminatory behavior should simply be ignored. Professional sports organizations have learned over the years that failing to examine such claims can damage public confidence far more than opening an investigation. But on the other side was the expectation that, once an investigation reaches a conclusion, everyone involved deserves clarity about the findings. That balance between taking allegations seriously and restoring trust afterward quickly became the central issue for many fans following the story. Governor Braun repeatedly emphasized that distinction in his public remarks. Braun argued that thousands of Fever fans had been placed under an uncomfortable spotlight while the investigation unfolded, only for the matter to conclude without the kind of public reassurance those supporters had hoped to receive. Whether people agreed with his assessment or not, his comments shifted the conversation away from a single incident and toward broader questions about how professional leagues communicate with their communities during sensitive situations. That message resonated. Because Indiana's relationship with basketball has always been unusually personal. In many states, professional sports are primarily viewed as entertainment. In Indiana, however, basketball often feels like part of the state's identity.
But you'd think any of these major news organizations would be all over this if Caitlin Clark said effing girl. I can't even say the word black, apparently, when you're a bald white guy. I don't know. It's so incredibly stupid that you just gotta laugh at it. In fact, the women of the WNBA are so incredibly stupid that you just have to laugh.
High school tournaments routinely attract passionate crowds. College rivalries dominate local conversations, and professional teams occupy an important place within the state's culture. The Fever's dramatic rise in popularity, fueled largely by Caitlin Clark's arrival, only strengthened that connection. Every sold-out arena, every packed downtown street before tip-off, and every child wearing a Fever jersey reinforced the feeling that something significant was happening beyond the standings. Clark herself remained an unavoidable part of nearly every discussion surrounding the league, even when she was not directly involved in the controversy. Whether someone views the phenomenon as exciting, exhausting, or somewhere in between, there is little disagreement that Clark has changed the commercial landscape of the WNBA. That reality also helps explain why emotions surrounding these debates became so intense. Supporters often argue that Clark receives excessive criticism despite bringing unprecedented attention to the league. Others counter that extraordinary popularity naturally brings extraordinary scrutiny, especially for an athlete whose every move is analyzed across countless television segments, podcasts, and social media posts. The result is a cycle that feeds itself. Every controversy generates more coverage, more online debate, and more opportunities for competing narratives to take hold before all the facts are fully understood.
I play with the boys all the time.
What a coward. What a disgusting coward. Stephanie White's a joke. Stephanie White's a disappointment. This is why I'm writing so hard for Sophie Cunningham. She's the only one who seems to recognize that biology isn't a suggestion. It's not a debate. It's not up for discourse. Biological men and biological women are different. If they're not, how about we just combine the NBA and the WNBA? What's the difference there? By the way, no one is saying that we hate trans people because we want biological women and biological women's sports protected.
The league's remarkable growth has brought the unintended consequence of placing virtually every storyline under a microscope. From a business perspective, that attention presents both an opportunity and a responsibility. Greater visibility attracts sponsors, broadcasters, and new audiences. However, it also raises expectations regarding transparency. Fans who invest emotionally in a league expect important decisions to be explained clearly, particularly when controversies involve issues that extend beyond basketball itself. Whether the discussion involves player discipline, officiating, or investigations into fan behavior, consistency becomes almost as important as the decisions themselves. Public confidence depends heavily on the perception that everyone is treated according to the same principles. Critics, however, viewed political involvement in a sports dispute as unnecessary, suggesting that professional leagues should maintain independence when handling their internal matters. That disagreement introduced yet another layer to an already complicated story, transforming a basketball controversy into a broader discussion about the relationship between sports, public institutions, and community identity. Adding further complexity was the undeniable economic impact surrounding Clark's presence in Indiana. Hotels benefit from increased tourism during game weekends, while restaurants experience larger crowds before and after Fever games.
And every single year, but this year is like extreme. I mean, watch this.
10 points, 5 rebounds. We see the Atlanta Dream as being very... Right now she's talking to the refs about holding. We're going to send it back to you guys. Very important.
Mid-interview, screaming at the official when she's walking past. I mean, this is just multiple reasons why Brittney Griner is being banned from the WNBA. But let me know what you guys.
Local businesses also benefit from increased merchandise sales and heavier foot traffic around the arena. Television exposure places a brighter spotlight on Indianapolis, while national media coverage regularly highlights the city's passionate basketball culture. Those economic effects help explain why elected officials may pay attention when issues involving one of the state's highest-profile athletes dominate national headlines. Even so, the conversation ultimately extends beyond any individual player. Whether discussing Caitlin Clark, Angel Reese, Brittney Griner, or any other prominent figure, the larger challenge facing the WNBA is maintaining public trust while navigating an unprecedented level of attention. For the WNBA, this controversy serves as another reminder that its remarkable growth has fundamentally changed the environment in which it operates. Every investigation, every public statement, and even every period of silence now carries greater significance because millions more people are watching than ever before. That reality creates a level of pressure unlike anything the league experienced just a few years ago. As interest continues to grow, so will expectations for transparency, consistency, and clear communication. Whether the league can successfully balance those demands while continuing its historic momentum may ultimately prove to be one of the defining challenges of this new era. As the debate surrounding Governor Braun's comments continued to ripple throughout the basketball world, the controversy showed no signs of disappearing anytime soon.
It doesn't matter what sport you are. It doesn't matter what sport you pick. That's how fans act in every arena. In every arena. So, and then when you, clearly she's not remembering who they let out to get her back.
The Merchant of Death.
The Merchant of Death. An arms dealer that wanted to kill American citizens.